Hey guys, so I'm trying something new here. Going to give you a video of kind of what we're doing here in history. So we're going to be starting on the historical inquiry process, and this is just the introduction to it. We're going to be working on it throughout the month of January. So as we're going through here, what does inquiry mean? What does that word really mean? Well, we hear it a lot in school, but the main thing that I want you guys to take away from is it's really like an investigation. It's like you guys are the detective. We use inquiry in every subject, um, but here in history, we're going to be trying to find out something very specific that's happened in the past. You're much more like a detective in that sense. So, a couple of definitions for it is inquiry, an act of asking for information. A question or a query is one. Second is an official investigation. Here are some different synonyms for that there. Now, we keep hearing about processes, and it's very similar to the writing process. In fact, in the historical piece, since everything's pretty much done, we also tend to use the writing process. So it's very similar. We start out with the question, similar to the pre-writing. Let me put a point here. So we start with the question, and we come it's like the pre-writing here. It's the very first step. Then we have to gather and organize. And this is kind of like right in the sense that you're just trying to get the information there. And then you have to really take a look at the idea, or the revising component. So we're going to take the information, there's sources that we have, our primary sources, our secondary sources. We're going to see what kind of detective work we can do here. So if you think of to gather and organize, if you're kind of like at the scene of a murder, of trying to find all the clues that are there, finding out, getting witnesses and whatnot, their testimonies and their accounts. Then you go back to the station, and then you're trying to analyze all that information. Then you're going to come down to evaluate, and you're going to try to come up with a single idea or a single component or an answer. And then, if using our murder scenario, we're going to have to communicate that to the district attorney so that they can press charges. So communicating what you found out. Those are going to be very big components of the historical inquiry process. So again, the question, gather and organize your evidence, interpret and analyze that evidence, evaluate the outcome, and then you're going to communicate. Again, very similar to the writing process here. Now, the question is the most important thing here. At the center of it all is the question. Everything you must do must have the question in mind. You were ready to start developing your own questions. We had it where I would give you the questions, but you guys are going to start coming up with your own questions. You guys are an excellent group of grade 7s. You're going to be able to do this on your own. We're going to teach you how to do this. You'd think asking questions is a simple task, but it can actually be quite difficult. Sometimes it's asking the right question. What does the right question look like? Well, it's going to look like this chart. It might seem a little overwhelming at first, but bear with me for just a second. I am way more interested in quality over quantity. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, quality means the difference between a premium sports car like a Ferrari versus an old clunker, or having 5 old clunkers. I want you guys to be coming up with Ferrari type questions. So we're going to use this table. It's actually called a matrix. So how do we use this? Well, we're going to take a look at it. There are 3 types of questions. There are red questions that we can definitely do better on. Yellow questions that sometimes can be good, but it's kind of like driving through a yellow light. Shouldn't do it. But we want the green questions. So we're going to move right quick to, like, for example, in the red, who would, well, that's a very easy thing, or what will happen if you do that. Sorry, I'm going to move on there. I rambled. Sorry, guys. So time to try out the matrix. You're going to pick a word on the left, any word, it doesn't matter which one, and you're going to match it with the word on the top, up here. that is going to be the start of your question. It has to be green. So in the example below, the start of my question would be how would. So I went down to how. I picked a word up here, would, and I went down to where those two meet in this box right here. That's a green box. It means that I'm able to use that question. How would, and then I would come up with whatever the question was that I might have. How would the Toronto Maple Leafs do if they lost their top two goaltenders? Well, we're kind of finding that out right now. But we don't want a red question. So, for example, we don't want to when will Frederik Andersen come back from injury? No, we're going to be able to find that answer very quickly. So it's not really a good question. That's why it's red. The yellow question, when did he get injured? Well, we'd have to go back and take a look. It's a little bit harder to find out. But again, not a great question. So again, we want to stay in the green. So again, you find your word on the left, you match it up with a word on the right, and you find the box and make sure it's green. So here are some examples. We had some stuff where we were taking a look at World War I before in 2018. It's been a full year, huh? Yeah, no, that's fine. So examples. What might have prevented World War I from happening in the first place? That's a green question. That takes a lot of thinking, a lot of research to be able to answer that one. How do you think someone came up with the idea for the tank? How do you think? So right there, it's not just who came up with the tank, it's how did they come up with that idea? And then the last one I have here is why did? Why did? So why did the Germans surrender in World War I? So those are the different examples to kind of give you guys a head start on what to be doing there. Hope that helps. Now we got to the end of today's lesson. So what I would like you guys to do is click the link, the pink link right there, and follow the instructions. It's going to take you to a Google form. You're going to come up with a few questions. I don't care what content you guys use. If you want to use hockey, if you want to use cooking, if you want to use art, whatever it is that you want to use, it's fine for this particular time. At the end of the form, you're going to find a link, which will give you your next assignment. Good luck, guys.